Welcome back, Uglies. I'm your mother, this is my YouTube channel, and today we're reviewing episode 3 of season 2 of the Boulet Brothers' Dragula Titans. An extra messy, extra scary episode, and I've got tons of nasty things to say, so let's roll the intro so I can get to complaining. At the top of the episode, we see our Titans gather in the workroom to chop up and fillet Dahlia Black like cheap salmon.
Dahlia, you're a fake bitch.
Cynthia Dollington brings up how Dahlia Blackarino said that she hated Cynthia. Dahlia then clarifies that she wasn't talking about Cynthia, but was talking about Abhora, which I believe because I also hate Abhora. And then Dahlia turns the conversation towards Zavaletta's ketamine use yet again.
I did take your advice, and I did some research.
Dahlia goes on to talk about how she did her research on Kay and how Google told her that you have to have a doctor administer it. And then Sigourney cuts in and is like, did you look that up because you didn't believe her? And I have 3 things to say. 1, she looked it up because Zavaletta told her to. 2, if she looked it up because she didn't believe Zavaletta, who cares? And 3, who was talking to Sigourney? The gal is constantly inserting herself in a conversation she's not a part of to say things that aren't relevant to the conversation that she inserted herself into.
When you make comments about, like, the Boulets can't do this or that.
Then, because Sigourney basically begged for attention, the girls give it to her and start talking about how she makes a bunch of comments about how she's the best thing since water without parasites in it.
You believe that you are untouchable because your fan base will destroy the show.
The other girls confirm that Sigourney has a big head, and it's a recurring theme not only throughout this episode, but I think this season in general. I didn't see Sigourney's original season, but I'm to understand that she did well, and while that's great, on this season, she hasn't won any challenges, and in fact was in the bottom on the first episode, and rightfully so. The gal is doing pretty mid so far, and I think the reason she keeps bringing up her fan base is because she's insecure about her performance in the competition. Now, where else have I seen a girl with a large fan base go back to an All-Stars and constantly bring up their fan base and success as a reason they should win the competition? The story sounds so familiar, but I can't put my finger on where I've heard it before. What I'm saying is that Sigourney needs to start winning challenges or actually murdering her competitors if she wants to win this competition.
You for bringing that up.
The Beaver also says that she thinks that Dahlia brought up Zavaletta's prescription in an attempt to get her thrown out of the competition, and here's how I feel about that. I love that. Here's how I feel about that. It's hard to know what Dahlia's intentions are, but it does seem like she has ulterior motives. However, Sigourney is the worst person to bring this up, as she just got aired out for trying to mobilize her fan base. What we have here is a case of the pot calling the kettle Dahlia Black.
Well, it's your Gothic wedding day, uglies!
The Bullet Brothers appear to the ghouls to announce the challenge this week is the Gothic Wedding Challenge, where they have to create a bride and groom wedding look, but not before they have to eat a worm cake for the Fright feat.
Oh, surprise, there's worms in it.
They have to eat an infested cake to find a ring. Whoever finds the ring gets to throw water on someone's outfit before the runway. Jaharia wins and she chooses Sigourney. This was so fucking gross. When I first started watching the show, I was like, oh cool, it's like Fear Factor and Drag Race all in one. But then I think to myself, did I like Fear Factor? And the answer is no. No, I didn't. I like scary stuff and I like being scared, but Fear Factor did gross stuff. They did gross stuff that made me grossed out and want to change the channel, and so I did, and so did everybody else, and the show got canceled. It got canceled several times, actually.
Jaharia, congratulations. You look especially gorgeous.
Not only do they have to eat the worm cake, but then afterward, they just chop it up and have a conversation with this shit all just dripping down their face. It's so gross. However, it's what I imagine I'll look like whenever I figure out how to get Eva Destruction and JK to marry me. I'll eat whatever they want me to, and with vigor. The monsters then start working on their costumes, then take a break from that to talk more shit, which I love, support, and encourage.
And the thing is, no one likes her.
The Beaver and the ghouls talk about Dahlia again, and Sigourney says that nobody in the competition likes Dahlia, and while that may be true, what I've noticed about Dragula is every girl has their moment. For example, Sigourney's moment has been every episode of this season so far.
But if it looks like I have an ego, it's because I'm confident. And because it's deserved.
JK then goes over to Sigourney to tell her that she has a big ego, and she responds with, if it seems like I have a big ego, it's because I'm confident and it's deserved, which is a bad response. You can't really fight an accusation of hubris. All you can really do is just say okay and move on. Sigourney doesn't do that and instead does the opposite. Multiple people throughout the episode tell Sigourney that she has a big head, and instead of reflecting on that, she says, well, you think I have a big head because I'm amazing, and that's a really bad response. What I find interesting is I I fully expected Abhora to be the worst part of watching this season, and while she certainly hasn't been the best, I've actually enjoyed her a little bit this time around. Miss Beaver, on the other hand, has no doubt been the most bothersome part of each episode so far. The first episode was all about how the big bad Sigourney was back in town and how great she was, and then she pulled out that basic ass dress and horns, and then the second episode she was average, and then the third episode, this episode, she performed not so great. So it's been 3 straight episodes of Sigourney being talked up as huge competition, and 3 straight episodes of her performing not so great. I personally want her to go home, but we'll talk more about that later.
So I just took the biggest fort in the hallway, and it smells like kind of healthy a little bit. Broccoli cheese a little bit. Dry salami ham and turkey a little bit.
And we arrive at the floor shoe, where the Boulets look stunning and introduce the contestants. And first up is Cynthia Dahl. The chest piece was gorgeous. I love the use of materials. The groom look was also a serve. Disasterina looked unfortunate in both of her looks, and Priscilla looked cool. Dahlia Black, in her bride look, spread her legs, squatted on top of her competitors, and pissed all over them. The look is immaculate. Unfortunate that her groom look looked like a toddler in grown-up clothes. Blackberry's look was giving slave wedding, but I don't think African slaves wore white wedding dresses or wedding dresses at all, seeing as they were expensive and they were slaves. Even if the look wasn't confusing, I'd still hate it because it also looks bad. Zavaletta's bride look was probably my second favorite because it was just so fashion. Her coming out on stilts was impressive, but what's the point of the effort just to look not so great, you know what I mean? JK was next, and I want to have their children, so I think they look great in both looks. Abhora looked good, it's just that her bride look was a complete redo of a look she did on season 2 for the same challenge, so it's a chop because she only did half the assignment. Jade Jolie dressed up as Sigourney Beaver, so for a Sigourney Beaver cosplay challenge she did great, but for a Gothic bride she completely missed the mark. Jaharia looked perfect, and the Beaver looked unremarkable. The dress is basic again, and her groom look didn't have anything about it that read as groom. You could also barely tell that she got water poured on her, and they only got water on her bride look. Her groom look was completely dry, which made no sense. The last gal is Eva Destruction, who comes out in a spider-inspired look that I disagree with on principle alone, but both looks were stunning. I just wanted to rip my skin off and burn it while I was watching her on the runway.
Transgender immigrants are dropping sexy M&Ms from Chinese balloons.
The judging this episode was strange yet again, because I agreed with everything the Boulets said, except for who they picked as the winner, but we'll get to that.
I thought the execution didn't really live up to Blackberry standards.
They say Blackberry's concept was good, but the execution was bad, and they say Sigourney didn't rise to the occasion.
I don't think the competition so far in general is working out the way she had planned.
The Boulets actually comment on the fact that Sigourney isn't living up to expectations and isn't even performing well, and I love to see that, so tell me why she's announced as safe, and then also tell me why JK wins the challenge. I love JK, I want to marry JK, I would chop my off and let JK wear it as a necklace, but Eva Destruction should have won this challenge. Everything about both of Eva's looks was perfect, and I think JK's bride look was a little messy, but whatever. Actually not whatever, because Cynthia Dahl could have won this challenge, or Jaharia. There's like 3 girls in total I would have given this win to before I gave it to JK. It's very strange that JK won this challenge.
Zavaleta, Jade, and Disasterina.
A piece of paper and a scissors store. It's so stupid. Oh my god. Ah, that's so dumb. We find out the bottom 3, then we move to the back to see the girl shred down. These. So stupid. I can't even get through. That's so dumb. We find out I can't say it. This is so dumb. This is so stupid. We find out the bottom 3, then we move to the back to see the girl shred Dahlia like a piece of paper in a scissors store. So stupid. We find out the bottom 3, then we move to the back to see the girls. We find out the bottom 3, then we move to the back to see the girl shred Dahlia Black again like a piece of paper in a scissor store. So stupid.
I felt like you should have probably been in the bottom just based off of your actions.
Cynthia Dahl says that Dahlia should have been in the bottom for being a shitty little piece of shit. And wouldn't you know it, guess who jumps into the conversation to hijack it? I'll give you a hint. Her name rhymes with Baloney Stevers.
Also, just
All
in
that
general.
I've heard you say.
The Beaver accuses Dahlia of saying that her drag is better than everyone else's, and this is when I started to zone out a little bit because I start talking about stuff that happened off screen. Also, apparently, side note, allegedly, they have all these girls live in a house together, bad girl style, and they just don't show any of that. Why? That's so f***ing stupid. Watching people talk vaguely about things that could be complete lies is frustrating to watch.
I seen you personally yell at a producer in front of me.
Cynthia Doll says that she saw Dahlia Black yell at a producer, and Blackberry confirms this, but Blackberry also says that she's not the only one. My question is, why are they all coming for Dahlia and only Dahlia if they know she's not the only one allegedly acting a fool? Also, the producer that Cynthia Doll said that Dahlia yelled at sounded like they had no idea what she was talking about.
You saw her yell at a producer?
I saw her. Yes, you bitch.
I'm not saying that Dahlia is innocent. What I'm saying is all we have is the word of the girls, and people on TV lie, which is why TV shows usually show things instead of showing people talk about things that we didn't see. I would like to be clear though, I love this. I love all of this. This is amazing. All of this drama. I'm eating it up breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's amazing. I love it. We then see Disasterina and J. Jolie ascend the staircase of scary things or whatever, and J. Jolie is eliminated from the competition. I appreciated the drama she caused while she was here, but it was clear that it was her time. And that's a wrap on this review, except it's not, because I have more things to say. Before I say those things though, remember if you want to see my review of episodes 4 and 5, you're gonna have to go on over to the Patreon, where you get access to not just exclusive reviews of this show, but other shows as well.
What about your use of the N-word? I used that word because they forced me into it. Do you see how that's incredibly offensive? Yes, I do. That's why I said it.
In my last review, a ton of y'all told me that I needed to listen to the Boulay Brother podcast to get more insight into the show. And I'll be honest, I think it's really stupid to have to listen to a second show to understand the first show, but I'm a queen of her people, so I reluctantly listened to the Bullet Brother broadcast. Also, I want to talk about some of the insane things I've been seeing from some other Dragula fans, because it turns out that Dragula viewers are just as deranged as Drag Race viewers, so we're gonna have what I'm gonna call Spook Talk, where we talk about things that don't have shit to do with the episode.
To Blackberry's credit, every time she won, she shouldn't have to, but one, she stays even-keeled, and two, does not back down from that. She's not apologetic for playing by the rules of the competition, but she also gives space for Cynthia to have her tantrums, which she does at length, multiple times, in a way that's frankly disgusting. And this is a microaggression. This is this white presenting person weaponizing their victimhood and their emotionality to paint this other black artist as a villain.
I saw a video of a person accusing Cynthia Doll of microaggressions against Blackberry, and I think it's important for people of color to have these conversations, so I wanted to add my colored opinion to the mix. I don't see how Cynthia Doll was being racist or microaggressive at all by being mad at the girl who sent her jumping off a bridge. I too would be mad at anyone who sent me jumping off a bridge for any reason. The person in the video goes on to make the point that racism is built into competitions like Dragula because POC queens not only have to compete but also deal with racism. Now that point is valid and very true, it's just that Cynthia Doll has nothing to do with that from what I've seen. The reason I'm bringing this up is because it's not the only slightly cuckoo Dragula fan opinion I've seen recently that I have great contention with. I've been seeing more Dragula TikToks and Reels, and every time I go to the comment section it's always full of Abhorra stans, and I remain confused as to the allure of that woman. I've been seeing people say that they're attracted to Abhorra sexually, which gags me a bit, for sure. When I was doing my review of season 2, I commented several times on how Abhorra looked like she was rotting from the outside out, and it's no different a story on this season, so what is it that y'all are seeing that I'm not? Like, describe it and use your words. On that note, I've been seeing people hate on Eva Destruction, who's a 10 on the f me scale, for having a terrible promo look. Here's the thing, was her promo look bad? Of course it was, but people were treating her like she pissed directly into their mouths, which I would pay top dollar for. The last thing in terms of random internet things is I saw a few videos of the Boulets performing live, and I don't see how they consider themselves qualified to judge performance challenges. However, as I say that, I remember that we have RuPaul Two-Step Charles right there walking for AARP on the runway, so I guess the bar for reality competition drag host performance is just very low.
The door was just open.
And somebody gonna come in here with their dick out. Oh my God.
There's a lot of interesting BTS bid tits and tit bits in the Boulay Brother podcast, the most interesting of which being the Boulets directed the first episode challenge. I complained in my first episode review that the first challenge was hard to judge because it was highly edited, but it made sense that since the Boulets directed it, they got to see more of it than we did at home. It would have been nice if they just explained that in the episode. However, something I've noticed about this show is that it hates explaining itself, and sometimes I like that, but in this case, I hate it. From my perspective, it's unclear clear at best what the Boulets do and don't see on set, and that helps them control the narrative, but it also makes the narrative confusing. For example, on a show like Drag Race, the producers, which include RuPaul, know pretty much everything that happens on set. But if they want to bring something into the storyline, then they'll find a way to naturally bring it up in conversation so we, the viewer at home, can have a reference point to know about whatever it is they want us to know about. For example, if the producers know that a contestant is probably going to go home and has a dead mom, then they're going to have someone talk to them about the aforementioned dead mother on camera so we, the viewer at home, can learn about the dead mom. Then during the judging, RuPaul will bring up the dead mom again so the girl can have a moment of vulnerability before she has to do a terrible lip sync to a song she barely knows and have to pack her bags and go home. In contrast, on Dragula, we were not told that the Boulets directed the challenge or that they allegedly direct some of the confessionals. For example, we don't see Jade not knowing the words until the judging at the end. We don't see it during the challenge, and also the Boulets commented on Abhora being a leader in her team, and it's never explained to us in the episode when or how they would have seen that. Because Abhora being a leader in her group happened in the workroom, and I don't think on any of the seasons that I've seen we've ever seen the Boulets like in the workroom looking at what's happening or any reference point for that. So it's just like we are shown something and have no reference for the Boulets seeing it, and then they talk about it. And then I've seen certain people say, well, the Boulets see everything, but it's like clearly they don't see everything, because going back to the Dahlia Black situation, there's like many parts of that where the Boulets are like, I don't know what's happening. It seems like she's causing a lot of trouble. And it's like, okay, so do you not know about what the trouble she's causing, or do you see everything or not? Clearly they don't see everything. I'm not saying that the Boulets didn't see Abhora being a team leader in the workroom. I'm saying for the purposes of making a television show, they should have asked Abhora on the main stage about her experience in her team, and then had Abhora tell them that she was the team leader, or someone else in her team bring up that she was the team leader, so we, the viewer at home, can have a reference for like, oh, okay, Abhora just told them that she was the team leader, so that's when it was told to them, so that we can know that's when they learned about it, because we didn't see them see that in the workroom. I don't know if any of this is making sense, but what I'm complaining about in a nutshell is that Dragula at times feels like I have to know things about the episode that it doesn't tell me in order to logically follow the episode, in a way where shows like Drag Race kind of like guide me through it. And so what I'm basically saying is that shows like Drag Race I can watch with my brain turned off, and Dragula makes me think critically, and I don't know if that's because the show is a bit confusing or because I'm stupid. And I'm genuinely at a loss for a conclusion on that one. And we're done. Remember, if you want to see my review of episodes 4 and 5, head on over to the Patreon, and that's it. Have a good day. Goodbye. Ooh. You thought I wasn't going to give you one. And there it is. Boom shakalaka. Oh, okay. Well, let's start it over. You know what? Let's do all of that again.